We are live on YouTube. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Sunday video update. Today's date is Sunday, February 4th, 2024. It is 2424. That's today's date. Usually joining me off camera, I would have my dad and Amy would be over here, but I'm flying solo this week, or at least for the time being, unless they come back during the show. But in any event, I have to kind of adjust my screen here a little bit because it looks like I don't know why that's up there. But anyway, if you are watching from no matter where at in the world, welcome. My name is Jared Fuller. So glad you could join me today. Today is, in fact, World Cancer Day. And I had mentioned something about it on my Facebook. It's a public post. You'll be able to read it if you're not blocked. But yeah, I had mentioned something very briefly about my battle with Wilms tumor and how I lost my mom in October. So yeah, it's just a brief overview of my health history. And I recognize all my brothers and sisters on World Cancer Day, whether they are still with us or they're not with us or they're still in treatment and fighting. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. Um, and before I get to anything else, I want to remind everyone that the Fox Sunday Flashback with Dan Richards is tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. I should put a link to the where you can listen live via the internet. I will put a link to that. So just give me 1 second here. Um, okay. I will put a link to the website where you can go and then you just follow where it says listen live. You just click on that or tap on it, whatever device you're using, and then you can listen live. Um, you can listen to the Fox Sunday Flashback. I'm going to put that, I'm going to drop that link in the chat log tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Okay. So I'm going to do that for my buddy Dan because Dan Richards is quite the man. And making his return this week in my chat log, chewing off my toenail, he had me laughing. There's 3 comments this week, 3 comments, and I will read them to you if you can't see them yourself for whatever reason. And the dog you hear barking in the back, off in the distance, that's a dog. He's just right outside the living room window. So this is what chewing off my toenail has to say. And the reason I don't ban or block this person is because I get a laugh out of it, and I think he's just doing it to be funny, to try to keep people laughing and in good spirits. So I appreciate that whoever's behind this account. They're not being jerks, they're not being assholes. So they're always welcome to come in and say what they want to say as long as they're within reason and they're not being problematic. So chewing off my toenail today says, this morning I chewed off another toenail, spit it across the room, and watched it get caught in a spider web. It's neat to see my toenail hanging in midair. Um, and then he goes on to say, the best part of waking up is a toenail in my cup. And last but not least, quiet out there, dogs. Must be the neighbor. Last but not least, chewing off my toenail says, I feel like slipping a toenail in your deviled egg at Easter. So, yeah, I don't get mad at these. I think they're funny. They're humorous. And yeah, so thank you for the laughs. Whoever's behind this chewing off my toenail YouTube, this user. Hold on just a second, guys. Quiet. Quiet out there. Okay. That should have done the trick, hopefully, at least maybe for a little while. But my week was okay. Um was it last week, I think, was the football game. It was the Detroit Lions versus the 49ers, or was it the week before? No, it was last week. I'm pretty sure it was last week. Well, the 49ers beat the Detroit Lions. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're going to play, I think, against the Chiefs, and they just won't. They just won't let it go. The people on my Facebook, because there's a lot of diehard Facebook fanatics on my friends list, or diehard football fanatics on my Facebook, and they will not let this go. And I guess I can understand it because the Lions have never been to a Super Bowl, at least not as long as I've been alive, maybe before that. I'm not a football fanatic, so I really don't know the stats. Um, Shut up out there. I don't know the stats, but um, you know, it you know what, that's gonna drive me nuts, guys. Just 1 second. I gotta see what they're barking at out there. Hey, Luna, in the house you go. I'll be right there, guys. Give me a second. I gotta take care of this dog. Frodo, stop! Really? Okay. Frodo, quit! Enough, dude. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I forgot what I was talking about. Football. So, there's a lot of football fanatics on my Facebook, and they were rather upset by the fact that um, the Lions lost. And so, because they're not going to the Super Bowl. I don't think the Lions have ever been to a Super Bowl as long as I've been alive, maybe perhaps before that. But the San Francisco 49ers are, in fact, going to the Super Bowl, and they're going to be facing the Chiefs. And I'm done talking about the Super Bowl and football because I couldn't give a fuck about football. But I know there are some people out there who might enjoy it, so I will mention it for them. This dog just does not shut up. Oh, I got boxes falling. Frodo, stop it now. Shut up. You're done. Shut up. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. How are you out there in YouTube land? I did send the link to some of my Facebook friends. I sent one to my friend Christy, and I sent a link to my friend Tanya. Hello, Tanya, whom of which I visited with today, and I hung out with her and her 4-year-old grandson, which was rather nice. And that kid, he just loves me. He just adores me. Every time he sees me, he'll run right up, give me a hug. He'll want me to pick him up. And today he says, I love you. And I said, I love you more. I said, you be good for Grammy and I'll see you again soon. And he is a good kid. I had to take his grandma and him. She had to go cash a check, but she had to do it all the way out in Mount Morris. So I took her out to Mount Morris, and then we went to go visit with her grandmother. Well, she did. I sat in the car, and it was a nice ride. I enjoy company once in a while, and I didn't mind doing a favor for a friend. It's just the kind of guy I am. And I don't know what this. I'm distracted by the dogs and then all the stuff in the background of my camera frame. I don't know. I'm easily distracted. Huh? Luna? It don't matter. As long as she behaves herself. But so yeah, I hung out with a friend for a little bit today. She lives right around the corner. And she was talking about the live streams that I do here on YouTube. And I told her on Facebook and Messenger, I said, hey, I'll do a shout out for you on my live stream this week. So hello, Tanya. Much love to you. Hope you're doing well. I hope the baby's doing good, and I miss him already. Although y'all just live right around the corner from me, but I miss you. Um, he is a sweet kid, sweet little fella. But that's what I did last week. I took her and her grandson to Davison, and it was cool. It was fun having a little passenger in the back seat. Um, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's pretty cool. And he was quiet as can be. I would look in my mirror, and he'd be looking out the window and checking out the sights and everything. It's like, okay, he's all right. He's just checking things out. He's good. He's cool. You know. Um, so there was something I wanted to talk about today, hopefully with no interruptions. And I did mention this at the top of the live stream, World Cancer Day. Um, so I did write a brief post on my Facebook talking about, um, I introduced myself, although, to my friends already know who I am, but I introduced myself in a public post so that way, if they're not friends with me, they can see it. And so I mentioned, um, that's my friend Angela. I mentioned today how today's World Cancer Day, how I survived it, how mom died as a result of cancer. And I wanted that post to be relatable to anyone from the childhood cancer world, not the toxic people, but um, just anybody, you know? Um, it's not just one day or 1 month for cancer survivors or children or anybody fighting cancer. It's not just one day, it is something that will impact you for the rest of your life. And it's not something I would actually I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Even not even my worst enemy, and trust me, I have a lot of enemies. But, even I don't think I have that many enemies, if I can actually be honest. I think what it is, and I may have mentioned this before, I may or may not have mentioned this, but, I was kind of giving this some thought over the weekend. And, all these people who and yeah, I'm gonna kinda talk about this. I'm gonna talk about things that have happened before. And I mentioned this to my friend Christy, which I hope is watching. Hello, sweetheart. Love you. Um, so I don't think that there are this truly as many people who hate so much as they're instructed to not like me. See, there's a difference. Now, generally, I'm not someone who really gives a fuck if someone likes me or not. I don't care. It's not anything that I'm concerned about, not on a general everyday basis. Like, there's people who don't like me, and I don't care. I don't have to care. But and they can like me for whatever reason, whatever legitimate reason that they choose, whatever they have against me, fine. If you have anything against me, that's on you. Um, it's not my problem. But it's another thing when you're being instructed to not like someone, which is kind of the reason why I made that video about leaving the cult. Because when you're a member of a group of people, they have an agenda. They dictate who you can and cannot speak with or who you can and cannot be in contact with, because if you're in contact with me, you're out of the group. And I think what's happened, it's not hatred. It's not hatred at all. It's not legitimate hatred because they have no legitimate reason to hate. What it is that these people have the community support. And mind you, these a lot of these families have children who are already cured. They've been out of treatment for years, but they still cling on and latch on to the community support because I don't know why, because I don't know. Maybe they like attention, maybe they feel like they're doing something noble. I don't know the reason. Um, but they don't wanna lose that community support, and they're not willing to wager that community support on one person, and that one person being moi. So I think that's really what's going on. These people are pressured into hating, and I don't care who you are. You don't really and truly hate me. You're just instructed to not talk to me or to not like me. That's why I'm against childhood cancer cults. And as tempted as I am to say it, I'm not going to. But I think the person watching this knows what I'm talking about. Um, it's a fucking cult, dude. I don't care. You can call it whatever name you want. You can call it a society, you can call it a club, you can call it a family, you can call it whatever you want. These are all synonyms for cult. And it's dangerous when you're dictating and telling people who they can and can't love, or who they can and can't support, or who they can and can't be friends with. That kind of dictation um, is disgusting and it's disturbing. You want to talk about me being disgusting and disturbing? Take a look in the mirror. Look at this shit you're doing. Clout chasing. Oh, Billy Strings, I'm so you know what? Billy Strings is on a level that you will never ever ever reach. Not in your life, not in a day, never. Speaking of Billy Strings, I just watched a performance of Billy Strings on CBS Saturday Morning. It was him and Chris Thile, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Um, really, really super good. Billy Strings is good. Um, he's from Michigan. He was born in Lansing. He lived in a small town called Muir, which is out by Ionia, which is east of Grand Rapids. It's on the west side of the state. That boy can play. And his performance yesterday on the CBS Saturday Morning newscast was absolutely phenomenal. I would, yeah, I wouldn't mind going to a Billy Strings concert. I haven't been to a concert in ages. Um, I guess with the pandemic, it really stripped away a lot of the need to want to get out. Like big crowds never really have been my thing anyway. But when the pandemic happened, a lot of people, I mean, either, it had one of two effects going on. Either they couldn't wait to get out, or they were they just got accustomed to staying in. For me, I've never been a fan of big crowds because of an anxiety issue, but um, to go to a Billy Strings concert would be actually really cool. Enough. Stop it, Frodo. But I think it would be cool to go to a Billy Strings concert, or even just to meet Billy Strings in person would be really cool. It'll never happen, but hey, you never know. One day there might come a time. There might be a concert close by, like in Saginaw or somewhere. I don't know. I think he pretty much stays to the big arenas because the more seats, the more money with the ticket sales and everything. But it'd be kind of cool, I think, to meet Billy Strings in person. I think it'd be awesome. To even go to a concert would probably be phenomenal. Um, but back to what I was saying about childhood cancer, there are too many people who are instructed to not like certain individuals. Well, if you're going to defend him, then we don't want anything to do with you. Blah blah blah. I didn't know we were still in high school. I thought we were grown ass adults. I thought we were mature. I thought we were better than this. And apparently, people still can't get out of that mindset, and it's dangerous and it's disgusting. Um, and I'm still curious as to why um, people don't want to talk. Why there's so many people who are quote unquote against me. It's bullshit. It's all just bullshit. And um, quite frankly, there's nothing I can do. I can't change people's minds. But somewhere along the lines, I know that those people watch my weekly live streams. They watch my Sunday video updates, including the individual that, I'm not going to mention his name anymore because he will throw a bitch fit and threaten to sue me. He's going to file a civil suit for what? I have no idea. He doesn't have a case. But in any event, when you're instructed and when your narcissism and your egocentricity goes to such monumental lengths to where you're going to tell people, do not talk to Jared. If you talk to him, I want nothing to do with you. That's pretty fucking childish. And I brought this to the attention of my friend Christy because we had this conversation in Messenger, And she's friends with a couple from Michigan who ended up blocking me because they were instructed to. They have no real legitimate reason to block me other than they were told to do so. And I told her that very thing. I said, "Look, these people don't hate me. They don't have any hatred towards me because first off, I really don't know who they are. Secondly, I've never met them in person. I know that they're somehow a part of the childhood cancer demographic, but I've never really had a conversation with them. And the reason why I won't block them is because I don't want to, if there is a chance, maybe this is just me being naive, but if there is a chance someday, somewhere along the way, where they actually might want to have a conversation, I'm open to that. I am absolutely open to the idea or the possibility of having a conversation with them, and I will keep it civil, and they can keep it civil, I would hope. But these people do not have any real reason to quote unquote be against me. They are instructed to be against me. So in other words, you're the hunter, and if not, you become the hunted. And I'm so curious because for years I've been asking for evidence of claims being made about me. Zero evidence. Still, we're in 2024 now. Zero evidence. So now I'm left with this notion that these people are just simply instructed to not talk to me, to not like me. And I'm trying to understand why. Because all the claims have not met their burden of proof. So what are you left with? You're instructed to not speak to me? Well, I thought you were better than that. I thought you were more mature than that. And furthermore, these people, like I said, these people whose children are out of treatment, and they've been out of treatment for years now. Why do you still associate with people like this? These people are toxic. They're not doing anything to your benefit. The only reason you latch onto these people is because they can put on this Captain Save a Child persona on social media, and you're drawn to that, and you think that these people are gonna come in and save the day, and that's just not the case, you know? I had to really look into that myself, and I had to really make a lot of, changes on how I see things, and childhood cancer, the demographic and the advocacy bullshit, um, that was one of them. Now, it's not to say that I don't care about children, of course I do. Children fighting cancer, of course. I was one of those kids. But I don't see how people will without actually getting to know a person, how are you gonna let other people dictate who you can and can't be friends with? That to me is bullshit. It's garbage, it's childish. We're not in high school anymore. It's time to grow the fuck up. It's time to take some responsibility. Start being an adult. And if you want to have a conversation with me, hit me up in Messenger and we will talk. If you have my phone number, call me. And that goes for the individual that I tried to, get a friendship repaired, and he just couldn't keep his ego out of the way. His ego kept getting in the way. Therefore, we're not speaking again. So if that's the way he wants it, fuck him. He can have it whatever way he wants, and he can have his little cult and have fun. But you can't sue somebody for having an opinion about you. You can't. Sorry, it's not the way that works. Um, but in any event, uh, it is World Cancer Day, and I thought about my mom today. I'm thinking about all my other little brothers and sisters out there who are fighting the good fight, and the warriors who have passed away as a result of their battle with childhood cancer. And I've attended funerals of kids who lost their battle. It's a very unsettling feeling to see a child in a casket. It's not fun. It's something that it sticks in your mind for years afterwards. I've attended a couple of viewings and funerals for some children here, or a couple here in Michigan and then one in, Columbus, Ohio. Um, Seeing a dead child is just it leaves a knot in your stomach. It really does. Um, it's really hard, and that's why when there's people out there who wanna talk about, um, they insinuate that they know what a bereaved parent goes through, what a parent who lost a child. Other people who have never had to go through that, they like to insinuate, they like to pretend as though they know what that parent is going through. And even when I was an advocate for CARES, I never I never put words in people's mouths. I felt personally that even as a survivor and even as someone who had gone through chemo, radiation, and all that, I felt that that particular area, talking about bereavement, that's left to those parents. The parents should be the only ones to put into perspective, if they can, what they feel, what they're thinking. It shouldn't be up to a child, not even a child, a cancer survivor. It shouldn't be up to me. I'm not their spokesperson, and I never tried to be anyone's spokesperson. I can only speak about my life, what I've been through, and I can relate to other children in treatment on a personal level. And now that I think about it, that might be the reason why so many of these parents don't like me, because I can relate more and better than they can. And it's not a backhanded comment, it's a fact. Um, it's just a fact. Yes, they are the parents. They are going through something with their child. But when you get down to the brass tacks of what's going on, it's actually the child going through everything, and I was that one of those children going through that. So I can relate to that child about those things. And I think that's what really ticks off a lot of the parents. I'm sorry they would be upset about that. I mean, it sounds like jealousy to me, but I wouldn't want anybody to be jealous of the fact that, I was sick. I'm not touting like I'm something special just because I was sick. I reintroduced my story because even not as an advocate, just as a survivor. Because I still think somewhere, not as an advocate, but just as a survivor, as a human being, I still feel as though that is my purpose in life, is to enlighten other people, to show other people whose children are going through something similar that I understand. And I don't care how many people are against me. I don't care what they can say, whatever the fuck they want, but it does not and will not and could never change the fact that I have more of a direct relation and connection to those kids than they do. And that's just the way it is. Being sick is not something that you plan. It's not divinely ordained. It's not written in stone anywhere. Well, I think I'm going to be sick today. I think I'm going to be conveniently ill so that way people will feel bad no, that's not how that works. Everybody has cancer in their bodies, okay? Everybody does. The reason, like, I had cancer, my mom had cancer, there are children who have cancer, teens, adults, whatever, is because those cancer cells mutate. That's basically what it is. The cells mutate. And so the cancer, quote unquote, comes alive and the body starts to eat itself from the inside out. And that's what happens. Um, but it's not something that you should be jealous of. I don't want anybody to have to go through this. If I had magical powers or some kind of wizardry that would rid cancer from children, if I could have saved my mom, I would have done that. I would have saved a whole bunch of children. I would have saved my mom. I would have saved a lot of people, but I don't have that power. I don't have a lab in my house. I don't have a microscope. I'm not studying, uh, you know, molecules and organisms and things like that. I'm not studying and researching this stuff. And truth be told, neither is anybody else that I've ever known or come across in the childhood cancer demographic. But with this Captain Save a Child mentality, this white knight syndrome, it becomes problematic and it overlays and it overlaps and it spills out into it bleeds into the community or whatever word you want to use, which I hate the fucking word community. It bleeds into the demographic in the form of advocacy. You're not going to save children. Everybody wants to be the one to tip that domino. Well, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm telling you, and I've been saying this for years. Let's say they allocate more than 4% to childhood cancer funding in research. I can guarantee that each and every person out there who's got their head up their ass thinking that they're going to save children, they are going to be at each other's throats for the credit. If it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for me. No, if it wasn't for me, that's what's going to happen. If you can't see that as a possibility, then you have been blind this entire time. You've been flying through the advocacy part of it with eyes wide closed. You don't know what you're talking about. Is that door locked? Okay, 1 second, guys. All right. But that is the situation. That's what it's going to amount to, and I pointed this out any number of times. There are a lot of people who deny that, or they say, "Well, Jared, you're just naive about that outcome." But I'm telling you, I think if not specifically that, it's going to come close to that, where you're going to get people who are fighting and at each other's throats, wanting credit for things that none of these people had anything to do with directly. It's a mess because only the government has to make that decision. And you're not going to influence government to make changes. You're just not going to. I don't care if there's 1,000, 100,000, a million, it's not going to matter. You're not going to influence government to um, change their minds. You're just not going to. So I know I said a lot, and it's not to be a Debbie Downer. It's not to discourage anyone. But listen, after 35 years, March 2nd is going to be 35 years. After all that time of being a survivor, yes, I did my part. I did my job. I got involved in advocacy and I tried to, I always put my best foot forward in everything I've ever done. But then I had to take a step back and get a bit introspective and do some soul searching and realize that, hey, this is not going to make a difference. I don't mind being a survivor, but the advocacy part of it is just bullshit. Because everybody else is too busy cheerleading and, oh, look at me, and they will do everything to dolly themselves up on social media while using children with cancer as their cosmetics. And that's not who I am or what I'm about. And you're going to see a lot of that. I think that part of it is here to stay. It's a permanent fixture in the advocacy side of things. But I love people one by one individually, not by the group you're associated with. That never works. And I'm always going to be here for anybody who needs me. And if there's people out there who legitimately want to apologize, and they're not just trying to be friendly with me so they can run back and tell other problematic people, you know who, then I'm okay with it. But listen, you have got to learn to be your own representative. You have to learn to be your child's representative and not let other people dictate who you can talk to, who you can't talk to. Because if you're referring to this as a community, then the dictation part of it dies instantly because a community means that everybody comes together and unites. That doesn't happen with the demographic. That's why I think the word community is the wrong word to use. It's bullshit. It's inappropriate. We are a demographic. That's all we've ever been. And so you need to start looking at it through that lens instead of, oh, it's a community. We're all supposed to be here for each other together all the time. That's not the case. And I think anyone can easily draw the distinction between demographic and community, because community is where you tend to run into issues. If you look at it as a demographic and we're all just a part of this demographic, then it's a lighter load. You know, it's a easier, more profound way of looking at it. And the demographic is big. I mean, the demographic of cancer patients overall, not just children, but just the overall number of cancer patients, people still in treatment, that is a very robust number. Very robust. And yes, I do have a problem with the word rare being used whenever it comes to cancer, because cancer is not fucking rare. I will bust anyone's balls over that any day of the week, advocate or not. I will tell people, I will set people straight. It is not rare. We need to drop this word rare because it's not rare. Joe Bishop on Facebook. Her Facebook is Joe Enough of the Rare Bishop. And I've spoken with Joe in the past, and she seems like a sweet lady. She's from across the pond. And she does her best to keep the memories alive of all these children who've died as a result of diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, or DIPG. And she does a very good job at keeping the memories of these children alive. But she doesn't do it for props. Her child, I believe, was a victim of DIPG, and I don't want to give any false information, but I'm pretty sure that she is a bereaved parent. And Luna, will you stop? Get in here. She is a bereaved parent. These dogs have been driving me crazy all day. I do apologize, but I believe she is a bereaved parent, and I think um her child had DIPG, I'm pretty sure. Um there's a lot of people out there that I used to talk to, and because now they've been instructed to not speak to me anymore. Otherwise, they will face backlash. I just think it's garbage. So do I really think that there are as many people out there who hate me? No. No. It had taken me a while to pick up on that because I used to really think that these people hated me for whatever reason. Luna, get in here. I really used to think that these people hated me, like they had a legitimate reason, and I'm sitting here like, what did I do? What did I do that was so terrible? Luna, I'm not going to tell you again. Get in here. I don't know what they're barking at. No, it's fine. Yeah, Luna's on the couch. I don't know what Frodo's barking at. I got him to hush a couple times, but then he must have but I said an awful lot. But it's World Cancer Day. I mean, what better day to talk about that than today? Um, you walk in and he goes right back to it. That's all right. I'll just try to block it out. But yeah, it's World Cancer Day, and I figured I would offer some thoughts on that. But the thing is there are very few people from the childhood cancer demographic that I actually can say I hate. I don't really hate people. Um, I guess I'm just disgusted on a lot of things. I'm disgusted by the fact that there are so many people who can't think for themselves, and I'm disgusted at the fact that um, so many children, because these kids are just fighting for their lives, and then you get people who use that to their advantage, and it's really sad. It is a sad place to be. And there are people who actually, they fake having cancer to get the money, which I think is disgusting. It's despicable. And those people deserve prison time because you can't make light of a delicate situation like that. I take that very personally. So whenever I hear about anybody faking cancer on the news and, oh, yeah, they're going to do 30 years in prison. Okay. But what about the people who actually have to live with that for the rest of their natural lives? And I'm talking the actual people. Oh, thank you. I'm talking the actual people like myself and, you know, my brother and I, we lost our mom. So, I mean, this is real stuff. This is real stuff. And I think it makes me think these people have no sympathy. They are insensitive. They don't know what it's actually like to go through something like that. I have always been on the side of the people in the childhood cancer world, whether they like it or not, whether they know it or not. Should I drop names? I should, but I don't know if that would be a wise decision. But I've always been on their side since the beginning. And I really wish they wouldn't have let other people dictate who they can and cannot talk to. And when you have, and I'm going to say it, a sociopath who they read one of my poems and they get some kind of weird, and it's all bullshit anyway. But they read one of my poems and oh, he meant something horrible. Well, that's just bullshit. I've been writing poetry for well over 20 years. So, um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I really wish that people weren't so vile and disgusting. I really wish that these people would actually grow up and look into things and not let other people tell them what to do. But, I guess as all the kids say, it is what it is. Now, last week, someone came into my chat room. I don't know if she still watches my live streams, but she went by the letter K, and I know who it is. I was a bit harsh towards K because I noticed that she popped up in my chat last week. She is associated with people, and she can't understand why I would be upset with her or not want to speak to her. And technically, by rights, I shouldn't even be bringing this up because you know, she's not here to defend herself. But there's a reason why I don't talk to certain people. This K was connected to someone on Facebook who's been slandering me using a fake account to slander and bash and belittle. And she was connected, maybe possibly is connected with that individual. I don't appreciate people who want to be all buddy buddy with me while being friends with people who are sociopaths, coming up with shit that's not true. I'm not going to be associated with people who are also connected with troublemakers and liars and people who are just up to no good. I'm just not going to take that risk anymore. And I told her, leave me the fuck alone. Don't talk to me anymore. She hasn't. And I really wish that things could have went a different way. I gave her the benefit of the doubt because we had fought before about who she's connected with. And I told her, as long as you're connected with those people, I want nothing to do with you because you're going right back and telling them everything. I went to Arizona last April and she thought that she needed to know my whereabouts. And I told her, I'm not in Michigan and that's all you need to know. I don't feel I need to disclose this with you because I know who she was connected with. And the minute I tell her, she's going to go back and tell this person I've had issues with, and then they're going to contact the people I was staying with, which is what inevitably happened anyway. Mike and Lori out in Arizona. So that's another reason why she got mad at me because I would not disclose where I was. Well, I don't think it's really anybody's business where I'm at or what the fuck I'm doing. I'm living my life and I'm hanging with people who I thought at the time were cool, and they turned out to be shit like everybody else that I've ever met. And so no love lost. Fuck them. And fuck anybody who's going to try to be friends with me while at the same time simultaneously turning around and reporting back to people who are running my name into the ground. No, that's not happening anymore. It's just not. And then, well, I didn't say anything to those people. You're fucking connected to them. That is enough for me to not want to speak to you. Because anything I say to you, you're going to turn right around and tell them. And that's the way it's always been. Because we're not adults here, or at least they're not adults. They haven't matured. They will never grow up. They will never be who they should be as adults because they are stuck in high school mentality. And I'm just not going to entertain it anymore. And it's been quiet. It's been really quiet. And even if this person is talking shit about me on Facebook, well, that they have no life. And so I just leave them alone. But for some reason they're infatuated with me and they want to lie and make shit up about me. It's what okay, whatever. But I'm still living my life. It doesn't stop me. I just wish people weren't so jealous and nasty and negative. People need to be better than this. And unfortunately, they've let me down in that regard. I can't change people. I try to be a good teacher in some aspect. I'm not perfect because I'm learning just as much as the next person. But I am wise enough to know that when someone is being dishonest, I'm going to just inevitably cut ties with them. And it hurts because Kay's son is a Wilms tumor survivor, just like me. And I thought I had a really good thing going here. We were actually going to meet up. We were actually going to hang out and spend a weekend together, which I thought was great. I was looking forward to it. But now that's not even a possibility because she can't leave well enough alone with these people who have been running my name into the ground. I can't associate with people like this anymore. And I don't care if these people cut me off, quite frankly. I cut them off. But at least I have a legitimate reason for doing so. I'm not instructed by a group of people to not speak to an individual. I make my own decisions. I can think for myself. I don't need people telling me or instructing me what I should do and when I should do it. I'm an individual. I'm an adult. I'll do what the fuck I want to do when I want to do it. And that goes for Sarah Moyo, who probably doesn't even know that this channel exists, but she bitched up a storm because I had written a letter to her son Anthony, and um, she just, well, I don't want you writing to my kid, but your kid is in a cult. You're okay with that? Um, Whatever, it's whatever. You're brainwashed and you don't know how to think for yourself, and you can't you can't look at it as, okay, my son inspired somebody, especially someone who's been a child a cancer survivor for 35 years. Yeah, couldn't even do that. Couldn't even owe me the dignity of saying, "You know what? I'm glad that my son inspires you." Couldn't even give me that much. I mean, I don't know. There's everybody's got to stick up their ass for some reason or another. And as far as the stranger thing is concerned, well, I don't want my kid talking to strangers. Well, then maybe you should keep your kid off the fucking internet if you're so worried about it. And speaking of that, we just had an issue where they were Mark Zuckerberg was actually at a congressional hearing, if I can say it. He was at a congressional hearing on Capitol Hill. He stood in front of Ted Cruz and a bunch of other people, and they held his feet to the fire because there are children who died as a result of suicide because they were being bullied on social media. And I've heard this from multiple outlets. And the one thing that I think is problematic, it's not the social media sites themselves. The social media sites themselves are neutral. It's the fact that there's not enough parents taking accountability for their kids. Bill Maher said this, Matt Walsh said this. I've been saying it. These parents do not take accountability for their kids. This should fall back on the parents, not an oligarch of a social media company. I mean, it's bullshit. You don't give your kids keys to a car, and then when they go drive it and then they crash, you can't go back and fucking sue Toyota. You as a parent have to take some accountability and responsibility. Shut up, Frodo. You have to take some accountability for your children. You can't shift blame on everybody else. That's lazy parenting. Whatever happened to just not giving your kid a phone? You're their parent, right? You can't say no to your kids? Oh, that's right, because you're too busy trying to be your kids' buddy. They have buddies. They need disciplinarians. They need parents. Try the parenting thing sometime. And that's been my hobby horse as this week. Because when I heard that story, I was really I can't even find the word. I was annoyed. Oh no, you're fine. You're good. I was annoyed by the story because these parents. There's no mention of parents taking accountability. It's always, well, let's blame Mark Zuckerberg and let's blame Elon Musk and let's blame all these other people, these oligarchs, the CEOs of these big tech companies. Let's blame them. Let's not be parents today. Let's blame everybody else for my inability to be a parent, because that's what it amounts to. I've said, will you shut the fuck up, Luna? I've said this before many times, not just on my Sunday video updates. I've said this in my daily rants. I've said this I don't know how many times. I've said this to friends. You can't get mad at the I mean, you can get mad at the fact that yes, there are actual people on social media who are scouring the internet for children. There are lots of online predators, and we know this. We know this for a fact. But here's the thing, it's not all them. You parents have to start taking some accountability and not let your kids on there knowing that that is what's going on. You can't come up with this excuse because eventually, it's not going to hold up anymore. You can't cling on to this excuse that you didn't know. Bullshit. Everybody fucking knew. There are always going to be actual online predators on social media. You're going to find that everywhere, especially Snapchat, Instagram. You're going to find predators everywhere on the internet. Everywhere. It's inescapable. You're not going to get away with not having that. Hello, Melinda Pullian. You wrote a message and deleted it. But there's never gonna be a time where you go on social media and you're not gonna find a predator on the internet. You, as parents, have to start being responsible. You can't put all the blame on social media or perverts on the internet, you know? You, as the parents, have to take some accountability. These are your children. And I'm not saying that children who commit suicide is the fault of the parent. I'm saying we can't shift that blame. We can't shift it because there are lots of parents out there who actually are in their kids' lives, actively in their kids' lives, and they know every move they make. So even if they do have a social media, the parents are in charge of it. So, um, but we can't blame everybody else. I don't have kids. I don't have that problem, but a lot of the parents seem to want to shift blame, and you can't do it. And maybe it is the fault of the parent. I'm not saying the suicide is the fault of the parent. I'm saying you knowingly giving them these devices to have that communication, that rests with you. You have a choice in how you react to certain people. I've been bullied on the internet for years. I don't feel any need to wanna kill myself. I don't even wanna hurt the people who are doing it, not physically. I'm better than that. I'm above that. I want what's best for those people, but they can fuck off, you know? I'm still gonna live my life. I just wish more people had that kind of attitude, like, they don't have to like me, and that's cool. Yeah, okay, I'm being bullied on the internet. Well, now it's actually against the law. People can be held criminally liable for online bullying. Frodo! Next week, hopefully won't be filled with interruptions from dogs that just don't know how to quit yapping. Um, I love dogs, make no mistake, but I'm trying to do a show here and I just continuously with the dogs barking and ugh. But anyway, I think I made my point. I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. We are down to the last 3 minutes of the Sunday video update. I want to use this time to thank all of you for joining me this week. Chances are good that I'll probably be back. Um, I look forward to coming back every week and sharing a Sunday with you, an hour at least. Um, but yeah, there's been some things going on, and a lot of people, and I want to say this too. I want to say this too. I want to put this out here before I go. So let me say this. My mom survived colon cancer. That's awesome, Melinda. That's great news. That's awesome. I want to say this to the people who, Frodo, will you stop? Frodo, stop it. He ain't gonna stop. Anyway, real quick, I'm gonna wrap this up. To the people who say that they don't know what to say, in light of me losing my mom, because you don't know what to say because you don't want to upset me or offend me or whatever. Um, anything is better than nothing, I think. Just to say that you're sorry that mom died or that you are keeping me in your thoughts. Anything is better than nothing. Um, I'm not really all that nitpicky on things that people say, but I do kind of draw the line when people say that my mom is in a better place, because that's bullshit. I would argue that the better place is here with her family and her still being healthy and but mom wasn't healthy. So mom is not in a better place. That's where I draw the line. But anything else, I mean, I get it. You're trying to think of the right words to say. And, maybe there are no words you can say that can be comforting. Maybe that's the case. And even if you said, there are no words that I can say that would make the situation better, that's still saying something other than just not saying anything at all. I know it sounds a bit confusing, but, I think most people kinda get what I'm saying. Um, but I appreciate all the love and support and the kindness that you've shown. I have my good days and my bad days like anybody else, but I did make a promise to my mom that, um, I will do my best. She made me promise her to continue on with my life, keep doing what I'm doing, don't quit because people have an issue with me. It's hard. Every day is hard, but I'm getting up and I'm doing the thing, man. I'm living my life. I'm just trying to do the best I can every day. And really that's all anyone could ever ask for. So, I thank you all for joining me for this edition of the Sunday Video Update. Someone texted me. That was that was my one of my oncology friends. Um, so I love you all very much. I thank you so much for joining me for this week's edition of the Sunday Video Update on World Cancer Day. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. I will be back maybe next week. Until then, take care of yourselves and have a good one. Take care and much love. Bye bye.